River State Ndigbo accused Ijaw National Congress of meddling. River State chapter of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, otherwise known as Ogbakor Ndigbo na Rivers, has asked the Ijaw National Congress (INC) not to meddle in affairs of the organization. The Ijaw National Congress (INC) had reacted to the communique issued by the convener of Ogbakor Ndigbo na River State, Livingstone Richie. Recall that Richie had issued a communique from a stakeholders meeting held on Monday, 18th November 2024 in Port Harcourt. Richie announced the preparedness of Reverend Ndigbo to produce the Ohanaeze Ndigbo's President General. INC, in a statement signed by its National Publicity Secretary, Ezonobi, had warned the Ohanaeze Ndigbo to steer clear of River State. The INC had declared that the Ijaws believe in one Nigeria, but stated that if the need arises to be part, the Ijaws will not cede to any ethnic group, whether the Ohanaeze Ndigbo or the Afenifere, but will remain on their own. However, reacting to INC's statement, a ranking member of Ogbakor Ndigbo na Rivers, Livingstone Richie, said, "We believe the Ijaw National Congress when they say their intent is to foster peaceful coexistence, and we share the same commitment to harmony. However, we must respectfully clarify that our demand for the presidency of Ohanaeze Ndigbo is not a matter that concerns the Ijaw nation. Ndigbo have no interest in encroaching on territories belonging to other groups. We have been neighbors and friends to the Ijaw for centuries. They know our lands and our people as well as we know their lands and their people. Anyone who seeks to blur these clear lines is either uninformed or engaged in mischief. We must always remember that River State is a multicultural and multi-ethnic state with various indigenous groups, distinct identities and kindred ties. Our historical and biological connections run deep and are not barriers to peaceful coexistence, but rather propellants for the practice of mutual respect. Ultimately, our efforts will ensure inclusivity and shared prosperity among all ethnic nationalities in River State and beyond. We believe there is indeed a brighter future for all Nigerians when we practice restraint, mutual respect, and tolerance. All right, George, I would like to get your thought on this, or on the stance of the Ohanaeze in terms of the presidency, or let me say regionalism, because that is what it seems to be like. I'd like to get your thought on this.
Okay, thank you very much. First thing first, I must say that this should not even make a news. You know, if you look at what's happened there, you come to understand that ordinarily what they call meddlesomeness, you know, does not really, you know, play. Because I didn't see any form of meddlesomeness in what the INC, that's the Ijaw National Congress, was trying to say. Okay. And what they were trying to say is that they believe in one Nigeria, and if there's a need for such kind of separation, that the Ijaw nation will not be submerged into any of the bigger national ethnic groups, that they will stand on their own. And while the story is talking about meddlesomeness of, you know, the Ohanaeze Ndigbo Rivers chapter, you know, angling for the presidency of the socio-cultural group. So I don't even see any need. And if there is some kind of meddlesomeness, then what for? Because we are talking about Ohanaeze Ndigbo, and we are also talking about the Ijaw Nation. These are two distinct, you know, ethnic nationalities, groups that does not have anything in common. So in the first place, this should not even make news. However, from the clarification of Livingstone Richie, you know, what they are gunning for is the presidency of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, which has no, you know, negative effect on the INC, because the INC is a distinct group from the Ohanaeze Ndigbo. They have been living peacefully, you know, they have been cohabiting for centuries. So it is not something that's at this point one will begin to. In fact, I don't see any relation in what's, you know, transpired. There won't be any issue. The Ohanaeze Ndigbo Rivers chapter, you know, there are some ethnic groups in River State that, you know, have some kind of similarities with the larger Igbo tribe, you know, and they belong to that socio-cultural group. And from my understanding, they zone their leadership from time to time. So at this point, it is the turn of, you know, the Rivers Igbos. So the Ijaws are not the Igbos. So there's no relationship whatsoever at this point. I don't see. You know, they should just try to understand that these are distinct groups and they should operate within you know, their formation, not meddling into the affairs of, you know, different groups. I don't see anything like that.
Okay, I get your thoughts on that. So, like, one will also think if we have these different ethnic groups, like the Afenifere, we have the Ndigbo, we have the Ijaw National Congress, and all of that. So, why do we have all of these groups? You know, they all share the same ambitions, right? That is, you know, being coexisting in unity. But then we say we call ourselves one Nigeria. What happens to that? What happens to that aspect of being one Nigeria?
You can't take away the fact that you know, we have different ethnic groups that make up the geopolitical zone.
All right.
You know, called Nigeria today. You cannot, you know, take that away, and everybody knows where they are coming from. The British people, the colonialists came and brought everybody together as one Nigeria. When you want to be nationalistic, that is where the one Nigeria comes in. But before the one Nigeria, you are coming from a place. So there's nothing wrong in identifying your people. The only thing that will be wrong is if you know, any of these ethnic nationality is coming to agitate, you know, for the solution of the Nigerian state. Okay. That is where it becomes an issue. But as long as they are doing whatever they are doing within their enclave, there's nothing wrong in trying to unite and foster unity amongst them people, using that socio-political and socio-cultural, you know, group like INC, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Arewa, things like that, you know. So I don't see anything wrong with that.
All right, so
it does not affect the issue of nationality, which is one Nigeria.
So let's take a bit to a story that people were calling for Nigeria to be renamed as URN, the United Region of Nigeria, where we share regionalism. You know, some states like the Ndigbo, we have the, you know, the Afenifere, and all of them, they just want Nigeria to be regionalized. So I would like to get your thoughts on that. As regards to this, when you say that there's nothing wrong with having the Ndigbo, the ethnic groups, and all of that, I'd like to get your thoughts as well on that.
Talking about regionalism, we once practiced regionalism back then in the 60s. And if you go back in memory lane, you know, the report we got is that regionalism favored Nigeria more. You know, some of the developments that you see today were as a result of, you know, the regional government, you know, system. But to be frank with you, we have moved past that stage. And if you look at some of the agitation amongst the different ethnic groups today, going back to that regionalism will cause more harm, if you ask me. Okay. Because when Nigeria was operating regionalism, the agitation was not this small. People were just concerned with, you know, having basic things. Nobody was thinking more. But over time, people began to see that, you know, some of these bigger tribes swallow the smaller tribes. So it became an issue. So if you go back to regionalism, you still see such issues, you know, reoccurring. So these are statehood, you know, where we operate a state system. I think it's still okay. Even at that, you still see some of those agitation, like in a multi-ethnic state like River State, where you have over 5, 6, 7, or 8, you know, different ethnic nationalities coming together as one state. The issue of who becomes governor comes, you know, into play. You know, it boils the politics from time to time. So there's no way, you know, you can go back to that regionalism and expect to have the same result you had that time, because the level of awareness is so much now. So for me, there's nothing wrong in calling for renaming of Nigeria to whatever. There's also everything wrong in calling for renaming. That is not our bigger problem. Okay. The biggest problem is about leadership. If, you know, what we call the political class, yes, you know, the leaders of this nation, the superstructure, which is politics, those who are handling it will come to say, okay, identify what is needed, what is supposed to be done, you know, for the country to move forward. You see that the ordinary Ijaw man, the ordinary Ipere man, the ordinary Kanuri man would not be agitating for this or that, because you're contented with the basic things provided, you know, where the country will be moving forward. The call for this agitation you keep hearing or saying is because of the failure of leadership in Nigeria. Failure of leadership, people, you know, feel alienated. People feel that, you know, those who are leading the political class are just there for themselves. So the ordinary people now hop on those fault lines that seems to divide us, like, you know, the issue of regionalism, the issue of ethnic nationality and things, ethnicities and things like that. So, but if the leadership at the apex decide to put the basic things on ground. I don't think the ordinary man will be interested in this is our own. It's no, nothing like that.